Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy and blessed Monday. Blessed Monday after the fourth Sunday of Advent, as we are counting down now towards tomorrow, which will be, of course, Christmas Eve, and the day after that, which will be Christmas Day. So we are still very much in the season of Advent, so a blessed Advent to everyone that is out there. And welcome also to episode 534 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, where tonight we're going to have our Christmas show, even though it is not yet Christmas. We'll have our Christmas show and talk about the things from this weekend, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog's numbers versus that of Mufasa. In the case of Mufasa, right now, arguably, potentially large flop, maybe even one of the biggest flops of 2024. There's still a lot of numbers to be counted. There's still a lot that remains to be seen, but let's just say it's starting weekend opening both globally, right, rather both domestically and internationally, right, at the entire global level, is just not looking all that good for it. Whereas with Sonic, the jury is still out in a lot of ways because the domestic came in quite a bit underneath what the expectations were. The readjusted numbers, in fact, came in about 2 million less than what had been anticipated. However, there is no one, myself included, who is going to be doubting that Sonic is going to be the hottest ticket during this Christmas season, and I do think it'll continue to add to those overall profits add overall to those domestic numbers. And once it does release internationally, as it is not yet released officially in various countries, but is getting released in the next couple of days, I think that those numbers will also probably be pretty fair as well. But as you all know, I look at the numbers as they are, not as I would hope them to be or as what other people would hope them to be. And we'll talk about all of those things. Also, of course, it being the final stream of the Advent season. And let me see what else is on the agenda. And also the Raven Awards, right? So an update on the upcoming 2025 Raven Awards. Y'all have been really doing a great job giving some recommendations on films and people to nominate. And so basically this will be our last push tonight to get some early nominations, get a bit of a short list. And it's going to change basically a little bit about how the nomination process works this year in the formal nomination process. But we'll talk about that towards the end of the stream. Before going any further, though, please make sure you smash that like button, line up that fire button over in Aussie, and smash the rumble button as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Let's go ahead and say hello to the people in the chat. Also, unfortunately, the chat feature in my Prism, which is built upon OBS, for some reason is just not working in the actual app. So I can see the chat. It's just not showing up the way that it was previously, which of course makes me a very very sad panda, a very sad panda. But we'll be able to get through with it. We'll be able to survive. Don't worry. We will survive, people. We will survive. But let's say hello because I do have this chat window open. We got Snorterpoopus Cuber saying, hello, humans and other quitters. What's going on, Snorterpoopus? Welcome. He also then says, hello to me individually. I appreciate you always being here. We are live, of course, over on YouTube, over on Rumble Green Machine, and on Odyssey, as well on X, though that chat doesn't necessarily always work for some reason. I guess I can try one last thing to see if that will actually work or not. So let's just bring up this window over here, and let's stop, activate source, do, and then let's do testing. Okay, so at the very least, that message sent over there, and it show up also over here. So if that made it where now you can comment over on X/Twitter, that is always good to see. We got Bruce hanging out. What's going on, Bruce? Thank you very much for being here. Carl Jacobs saying hello, chat. Hello to you, Carl Jacobs. Thank you again. Thanatos Felicitas saying hello, Odin from here at 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome. We got Kili Chow saying hello, everybody, saying an early Merry Christmas. Not in Christmas yet, brah. Come on. We are still in the Advent season. Christmas is an actual day celebration. The only previous day that you can even mention the word is Christmas Eve because it's built into the liturgy of the day, right? And that anticipation of the day of Christmas itself. And then, of course, the 12 days of Christmas. People often forget the 12 days of Christmas are not the 12 days leading up to Christmas, but rather the 12 days following Christmas. And really, it's from Christmas up until Epiphany that we can say literally every single one of those days, Merry Christmas, and it means just as much as it did on Christmas Day. So, blessed Advent. Jimmy A. Hello, everyone. Hail to you. Keely Chow asking the usual questions. Everyone is doing just fine. We are painting here over in Asgard. We're trying to turn the outside area into a playroom for the kids, which is a very interesting and fun process. But right now we're painting, and our goal is to have all of that done, hopefully, fingers crossed, the painting, or at least the crux of the painting done tonight, so that way we can actually get the room set up probably at some point tomorrow and have it essentially be what we expect it to be for the most part, by Christmas. That is our ideal. That is what we are hoping for. Short, Laura, the Modern Major General story. What's going on? Laura, welcome back. Always glad to have you here. By the way, check her out over on Criticless. Short. She gives awesome reviews, and I always take her words and her opinions very seriously. JS Pena tagging to say ahoy to you, JS Pena. Forever Sci-Fi, thanks for being a member here on the channel, saying hail all and Merry Christmas Forever Sci-Fi. In a couple of days, of course. How dare you try to bring in Christmas cheer before Christmas has even started. Jeremy Sikowski, good evening, Odin. I'm just going to go ahead and skip that part now. Also, Odin, can I have a Ryder Carbine Action 200-shot range model air rifle for Christmas? You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Ho, ho, ho. Cthulhu, what's going on, brother? Saying good evening and happy holidays to you all. Get that happy holidays nonsense out of here, Cthulhu. Come on, brother. We are in the midst of the Advent season, soon to be within the Christmas season itself. Kevin Huang, what's going on? Always coming in with just random stuff here. Merry Christmas. Eve. Okay, I'll accept that. Do you think Mufasa Lion King will lose money based off of where it currently is? Yes. We'll go further into that after I've said hello to some more people, but we're there. Laura saying hello. Anyone else notice a lot more people saying Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays this year? I think that it's something that more and more people do notice, though I also think it also, because here's the other part of that, it could also be that people are maybe more aware of it than in previous years. I think that always has some role to play, right? How much of the concept of war on Christmas do people know about? Because if you know about it, then you're going to be looking for it. You're going to be expecting it, and that could influence whether you think it is being said more or not. But it wouldn't surprise me, given how things have been this year, if that were actually the case. Snortabubus, what's going on? Giving some holiday cheer there. Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, hail to you, saying New Superman is a real geek. He does Star Wars in a new clip on X. So cool. That's good to hear. But will he be able to deliver? That's the ultimate question. Also, if you were paying attention to the very beginning of the stream, Heimdall gave you some very important information about a Blu-ray giveaway. So this is, of course, our Christmas stream, though it is not Christmas proper yet, so we could say it's our Advent giveaway stream. In lieu of that time, we might be able to have a continuation of this maybe next week, since we'll still be in the 12 days of Christmas, and it'll be a much more formal Christmas giveaway. But I did want to give away some things before entering into the holidays, and so I've got 6 movies to give away, 2 of each copy. So I've got first here, Man for All Seasons, one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite plays of all time, and also one of my favorite saints in the church of all time, about St. Thomas More. So I've got 2 copies of A Man for All Seasons, and the other 2 are actually from this year. So in my top movies of 2024, I'm still putting that list together, still trying to finalize that list, but I've also got 2 copies of some of my current top 5 picks available as well. So I've got 2 copies of the film DD. It's a very, again, weird title, but a very great film. Very nostalgic also to like the early 2000s. Let's just say there's the use of AOL Instant Messenger in this, and it is just spot on in its representation. And if you were ever a person that went through middle school or even high school and had an awkward phase where you were trying to fit in, find your group, this is going to speak to you in many, many different ways. And I loved it. I thought it was great. This was recommended by the Film Threat guys. I was able to see it in theaters, and it was phenomenal. So I got 2 copies of DD. And then the other one is currently like my favorite for that top spot of the year. And it's one I did not think I would have ever seen, and that I would not have ever suspected would be in my top 5 of any given year. And that is the beautiful movie Strange Darling. There's obviously got some, more risque things in there. But honestly, the way that it's presented, that stuff is really not being played the way that it's often played in movies today, because this thing is just a psychological thriller in so many different ways. And the acting in this film is just phenomenal. I love the twists and turns. It's so much better to go in not knowing anything else about the movie than that, because there are some twists in here that honestly, like when I saw it in theaters, I went in blind. My mind was a bit blown by it, and I thought it was really cool just to see that play out, the way that the chapters are said out of order and out of sequence, which kind of helps in that reveal also. So I've got 2 copies of Strange Darling on Blu-ray also. So yes, go ahead and follow those instructions. There's only can get 1 ticket. So basically the way things work here on my channel is that if you watch my streams at all, right? If you watch any of my streams, you get free what we call digital cookies here on OMB Reviews. And with those digital cookies that you get for every certain amount of time watched, you are able to gain these digital cookies. And then whenever I have giveaways, you can then use those digital cookies to enter in for a chance to win. So in this case, you can only buy 1 ticket, but it does cost you around 5,000 digital cookies to get. So if you've been around here for a long time, you definitely have that. But you can only get 1. Trying to keep it as fair as possible for those that have a plethora of cookies to add. So if you want to join, make sure you put enter ! The one thing that Heartbreak Rich did not do though is you have to put a space and then the number 1, because that tells me how many tickets that you want. It's all done by my bot Heimdall. So if something happens that's a mistake, I cannot help with that. But I will keep y'all updated with what I have as far as who has entered in so far. So far, I've got 4 people who have entered in. I've got an entrance for Hardwick. I've got an entrance. Hardwick always here. Whenever there's giveaways, he always shows up. It's always amazing. I know he's here beyond that, but it's always a little bit convenient, I think, Hardwick. Forever Sci-Fi, I have your entry. She, her, Wingster. Still named She, her, Wingster. Also, I got your entry. Heartbreak Ridge, I got your entry, so thank you for fixing that. And then Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington. Gary, what's going on? So depending on how many people enter in for that giveaway, which will be towards the end of the stream, that we'll pick our winners, could potentially have some guaranteed winners in that instance. So anyway, if you want to enter in, again, enter ! space, the number 1. Get you 1 entry, and that's all that you can enter in for. But you have to have 5 digital cookies. If you want to check your digital cookies, do what Heartbreak Ridge did. Put ! cookies, and that's how you'll check it. And there's a lot of awesome people. I know that Shorty Short Laura will be able to help with y'all, and a lot of the members who have been here for a long time, those who've entered in. If anyone has questions, please go ahead and answer them if y'all can, because I'll try and stay focused here on the stream. All right, first off, we got Tina B. What's going on, Tina B? Empress of the Universe saying, can't stay, just dropping by to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. Hope you are all well. Bye for now. Well, Tina, thank you for stopping by, if even for a short while. Cthulhu, had to say, hey, what happened to the Saint of the Week history lesson? I missed those stories. They were quite cool to learn about. I mean, we didn't ever have a formal Saint of the Week thing going on, but I probably was being a little bit more consistent with it. But now that it's Advent is the higher feast, is the higher like holy day, so it takes precedent over any feast. But currently in the calendar that I follow, which is the traditional calendar, the official day is just a Feria day. It's one of the what's called greater ferias, since we're in the fourth week of Advent. In the new calendar, it is the feast of St. John Cantius. So take that for what it is. But thank you for that reminder. Mike, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson. What's going on, brother? Feel like it's been a while. Welcome back. Gary, got my work gifts from the staff today. Thanks given for being kind to... Got my work gifts from the staff today. Thanks given for being kind to your boy. Ah, yes. I'm still actually confused by that. the wording of that didn't make sense. Jimmy A, did you get a beard trim? But it looks really smooth. Not being weird or anything, just a genuine compliment. Are you trying to hit on me, Jimmy A? I will have you know, I am taken, good sir. All right, I am taken, happily married man with 2 kids. But Jimmy, I appreciate it nonetheless, man. Yes, I did get a beard trim, by the way. Had to. Going into the holiday frame, family coming in town, starting actually tomorrow with the parents, and then the rest of the clan, since it's our year to host, coming in a couple days after. Kimberly G, what's going on? Thanks for being a member, Kimberly G, always being here. Saying, Merry Christmas, Odin, mods and chat. One more day of stress. Can't wait for Christmas Day off. Love to everyone. Yeah, we had our last exams last Friday. So we were off this week, but of course, when you're off, you're not really off because when you have younger kids, especially. So it was an interesting day. We went to the local library. There's some really good things that they have in there. Some other things that I was not a big fan of. Let's just say there was a giant sign of a certain kind that let's just say when my children are a little bit older, I'll probably not want them going there. I'll just put it that way. I should probably all kind of pick up what I'm laying down with that. Patrick D, what is going on? She, her, wingster still is the name. Merry Christmas, Odin. Accept my holiday greetings. How dare you? Gary Banjo saying, Merry upcoming Christmas to you all. There it is. Carl Jacobs, have you been nominated for Shill of the Year for Civil War yet? I have been nominated. No one has stipulated yet for what movie, but I can confirm right now that I in no way shilled for Civil War. I simply spoke truth and did not get caught up in the nonsense that surrounded that movie. Forever Sci-Fi, yes. But if we don't say Merry Christmas now, we won't be able to say it to anyone here until after. Better early than late. One could argue that. However, I would say it's better to actually say it during the actual time because remember, the 12 days of Christmas means that on our next Monday stream, it will still be Christmas. And so it'll actually be an appropriate time to say it. Jimmy A. Speaking of Christmas, have you watched Netflix's Carry On? I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's a solid action thriller set around Christmas time. Yeah, everyone that I've heard who has seen it has liked it. It's gotten a lot of great reviews on Criticlist. There really hasn't been a lot of big criticisms of it. So it's on my list of movies to possibly check out. Forever Sci-Fi, I want to buy the 4K of Wild Robot, but I hate that Amazon pretty much has a stranglehold on the physical media market now. Yeah, I mean, you could obviously try looking over. It's sad that we have to, kind of go towards larger corporations here. You could also try looking at Walmart to see their pricing on it. Sometimes Zavi has some titles that are available, but it's not always in the the way that you would necessarily want them. Yeah, it's basically one of those things where it's, do you want to go with one of those massive corporations, or do you want to sacrifice potential convenience, getting it in a certain, reasonable amount of time by going with a smaller market or a smaller company? I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely on my list. I think, honestly, though, I would wait on that. I would probably wait on Wild Robot. I would not be surprised if that kind of movie eventually gets picked up by a different distributor as far as like physical media copies. I think that they could probably do a really cool like 4K Steelbook release or something like that for that movie. And if not that, though, I would at least wait for the price to go down, because the price on that thing, again, whenever they have these massive price increases, I'm always like, look, I'll just wait, because I know as a fact that you're going to drop these prices later on. It always happens every year. Hardwick, what are your thoughts on the Can You Read My Mind scene from Superman the movie? Some people like it, and some people find it too cheesy. Is that the first Superman movie? We actually did a movie watch party of that film on the channel, and this was years ago now, and it was a very unpopular opinion at the time, and it'll continue to be an unpopular opinion. I was not a huge fan of that movie. I thought that, I thought everything about, my goodness gracious, I hate when my brain does this. I hate when my brain does this to me, man. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. Christopher Reeve. I was like, I know his name, Christopher Reeve. Everything about his performance was phenomenal. I loved his performance in the movie. I thought he was great. I can see now why so many people have him as being holding them to such a standard. It's been really cool. My wife and I have been watching Smallville, and we're now in the third season where he's actually a featured actor. He comes in every couple episodes, and even in his condition at that point in his life, it's still like you can tell the passion that he has and the amount of focus that he had to do to take on that role. And so I appreciated him tremendously. I thought he was great in it, but there was just so much stuff. As you mentioned, a lot of stuff is cheesy in there, but also to me, I did not really like the way that Lex Luthor was written because it made no sense as to how he figured out everything. It really just didn't. It was just very poorly written in that way. And then the whole concept of him flying around the earth as well. It wasn't even just like that as a plot point. It was more of the sequence of events that you see unfold do not really match up to what is going back. And that drove me crazy as well. It was a bit of a continuity mess. Gary Banjo Sands, can we find a Blu-ray player giveaway? No. Sorry, dude. Those can be quite expensive. You could get probably a cheap one. The issue is that you could only really play it on a computer. And that's not going to be the easiest, but yeah, there's like little Blu-ray drives that you can get that are that you can plug into a USB drive or something like that. Those are not too expensive. But yeah, time to update, dude. Like you can find one. I imagine you can actually find them these days for pretty cheap. I imagine, especially now that 4K is the thing that a lot of them are pushing. Let's see. Jimmy A says, it's been confirmed Christopher Nolan's next movie will be an adaptation of The Odyssey. Yeah, I found that out earlier today. As a fan of Nolan and someone who enjoyed The Odyssey, I see this as an absolute win. Well, we'll have to wait and see, dude. All right, because look, I like Nolan too, but Nolan's not perfect. All right? I'm sorry. Oppenheimer, in my opinion, had some really amazing moments, but a lot of it, in my opinion, was not as good as people said it was. And it really ticked me off what he did with those nude scenes. I know people say you're nitpicking with that. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, dude. Like, what kind of depraved person says, yes, my movie, which does not need any of this in it, is going to have it? Again, that says a lot to him. And I'm honestly, I became less of a fan because of the choices that he made for that movie. In addition to that, there's other issues that I have outside of that. It's still a beautiful movie. There's still some really good things in there, but pacing issues, good Lord, some pacing issues, and just not knowing how to tell a very concise story, not even just being concise, but just a well-paced, concise story to boot. Again, these are things that have kind of plagued his films over the last several years, especially. I mean, if we go back to Tenet, I actually liked Tenet quite a bit because I was actually able to understand it in theaters, but even that, when it's like any criticism being brought up about the sound design, I was like, yep, objectively, that's a fact. Pacing, yep, I would say the pacing issues are definitely there. I just didn't mind it for that movie. Writing issues, yep, again, there. I would say objectively there. I just didn't mind it as much. So again, it's about trying to separate that objective versus subjective. And subjectively, I have not really enjoyed too many of Nolan's films in a long time, unfortunately. So again, it's really cool he's doing The Odyssey, but what kind of Nolan are we going to be getting? I honestly don't know. I honestly just do not know. All right, let me check in just in case anyone else tried to enter in with giveaway. Ryan Liu and JK76. I got y'all's entries. So again, you need at least 5,000 digital cookies to be able to enter in. So if you don't have those, then you can't enter. That's okay. It's okay. Also, you have to be a regular on the channel, which means you have to have had watched the show for at least 5 hours all time. Cthulhu. Digital cookies are the fruit of the devil. Doesn't, though, not know that the number of the beast is that computational device. Good gracious. JKD76. Howdy, Odin on today, Christmas Eve. Oh, JKD76 showing up. It's always amazing when people show up on giveaway days, isn't it? She, her Winkster. Talking to Shorty Short, Hardwick. I was initially disappointed that Nathan Fillion was cast as Guy Gardner instead of Hal Jordan, but then I found out that Kyle Chandler is playing Hal Jordan now. That's even better casting, in my opinion. I think they're both great actors. The issue I have also ultimately comes down to the fact that they made Guy Gardner look like Uncle Fester's wig from Addams Family Values. If you've never seen that movie, oh man, it's exactly the haircut that he has. Just because something is, quote, comic accurate, or someone wants to be comic accurate, does not mean that you have to have that. There are ways to be accurate and respectful to the source material without having to have a really bad wig. I'm sorry. I got into a big debate about this on the Salty Saturday podcast, and yeah, I'm sorry. There's no excuse for it. It's a bad wig. It's a bad wig, and it's a bad look. Kevin Wang, the new Superman trailer broke a DC record for a trailer, but the last time a DC movie trailer had a lot, movie didn't do too well. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why you should never take what social media says, and you should never take what YouTube likes and dislikes, are with any real sense of importance, because it does not actually indicate and does not actually translate into people going out to spend their time in a theater, spending X amount of dollars on that film. We can imagine that Superman movie is probably going to be north of 2 hours. The unfortunate thing is most films have been around 2 hours 15 or more, so it's likely to be a longer film. I'd be happy to hear if it's shorter. I doubt it. Again, it's just the nature of the beast these days. So I think very long 2 hour movie, and it's probably also going to be in those premium format screens, so tickets are going to be very expensive. And I don't think that trailer is going to be enough, because yes, it's broken views and it has a ton of likes. But if you actually look at the discussion, because also a like does not mean, oh my gosh, I've loved this thing, I'm going to see it. We do this all the time. If you ever watch YouTube videos, I like something, sometimes just casually, of like, oh yeah, that looks cool. Or, oh yeah, I want to show my appreciation for that. That does not mean that person's going to see that specific film. So I don't think, if the trailer's intention was to put to ease the minds of anyone who is concerned because of all the nonsense that happened with the gosh awful Zack Snyder universe, I don't think that was going to do it. In fact, it seemed to bring up more questions about other aspects of it. Now, I thought the trailer was fine. I thought the trailer was actually pretty good. But it was also one where I'm like, yeah, I liked it, but there are definitely things to nitpick, and there's definitely things to be critical of. And I don't know if it's enough. I really don't know if that's enough. And with the budget having been reported as being north of $300 million, good Lord, dude, I don't see that as $1 billion film at this point. A lot of that could change, but I mean, DC films have typically had a ceiling, and they have really not been able to break through that ceiling often. The first film from DC that broke $1 billion was the first Aquaman movie. And I'm trying to think now if any other film has actually done that since then. And that, I mean, honestly, we could chuck that to a lot of other factors that helped push that film to that level, and not the actual movie itself. By the way, I want to make sure to shout this out. 9 minutes ago, Cornelius, so sorry. It took me this long to get to it, but Cornelius Schultz, thank you very much for the $50 donation. Thank you so much, man. The $50 super chat. Cornelius Schultz dropping the bomb here, saying, finally catching you on a live stream. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas with your family. God bless. Well, God bless you, Cornelius Schultz. Thank you for catching this live, good sir. And thank you very much for that super chat, man. I really do appreciate that. Thanks for watching and for being a part of it. Also, you do get bonus cookies for any donations that you give. So if you have not entered in for that giveaway and you are having regular status, please feel free to enter in for that giveaway. Again, ask people in the chat about how to do that. Gary saying, I meant gift to me from kind people just might. Okay, gotcha. That makes a bit more sense. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Kevin Wang, does your public library still have movies? They might have. We only got up to the second floor, which is where the kids section was. There was a third floor. I imagine that might have been where it was. Most libraries still do have that. Sacre Bleu, the deadly poke of Zora. What's going on? Sacre Bleu saying, hail to the Odin on this penultimate day of Advent. There it is right there. Thou art the man. Well, thank you. I do very much appreciate that. Laura saying, my daughter is a librarian, and you would be surprised at the large number of movies available at most libraries. They also have a free streaming service called Canopy. Yeah, a lot of them have connections, not even just to Canopy, but to other services. There's typically one that's connected to, was it Overdrive? And then there's like a Libby service and others. So yeah, it's always really cool to see that, actually. One of the issues, though, is that even in the digital form of that, it's still like a library, and so you can only have so many copies being like, quote, rented or streamed at a time. So it's still cool. It's still cool, though, with lots of films available. Jimmy A Tagging to say, my hot take is that Batman 89 is not that good. Jack Nicholson is excellent as Joker, and there were some cool scenes, but most of the movie was a little middling. I wouldn't know about that. I do appreciate that movie quite a bit, and to me, the scene that makes the entire movie and why I love the film is the art gallery sequence. I could watch that scene on repeat every single day. It's so good. So good. Kimberly G saying wow at Cornelius. Laura, exactly. Somebody save me. It was so funny because one of the ways that I sold her on watching the show was on the theme song, because we have been watching a lot of shows that have some very catchy theme music, and so the most catchy, in my opinion, was the Veronica Mars theme song. A long time ago, we used to be friends. Right, it just gets stuck in your head. And right, season 3 or 4 of that show, they changed the theme, and it was just like, it was disgusting. I was so tempted to like digitize my copies and actually like edit the show, like edit the episode to add in the original music instead, just to not have to deal with the very slow, over dramatic version of the song they did instead. It was very weird. We didn't like that. But I mentioned to her about the song, and so the first episode, she was like, yeah, maybe. And now it's like every single time we watch an episode and every single time something happens, it's like I can see her over there. Sometimes she looks at me and sees me doing it, where we're just mouthing along like, somebody save me. So good. Our favorite moment, though, is still when they have the actual singer, the actual artist in the show, and he has no emotion, no expression on his face while he's singing his own song. Like, we think when we hear that lyric, oh, someone's going to be like so passionate, like a lead singer like typically does in a rock band. And then instead of the episode where he's singing it, it's like just he's at a microphone just saying, I'm not me, like no emotion. It's crazy. Hardwick. The Can You Read My Mind scene is from the first Christopher Reeve movie. It's when Superman is romantically flying with Lois and she keeps thinking to herself, can you read my mind? Ah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it was not my favorite movie. So I honestly don't even remember that scene because I really have no desire to watch it again, I'm going to be honest. Forever Sci-Fi, you won't stop me, hack man. Caveat ties. What is going on? What's going on? Hail to you. Yeah, absolutely was completely unnecessary. Let's see. Laura saying, oh, the scene in Superman with him reversing time was just wow. Yeah, it's just couldn't get past that one for me. Hardwick, there's at least one fan edit Superman the movie that removes a lot of the cheesy moments and removes the turning back time subplot. I think you've mentioned that one before. Gary, Nolan is now a sir. Got knighted by the king this week. Well, good for him. Good for him. Jimmy A. My guess is Nolan put love scenes in Oppenheimer out of spite. People always made fun of his movies for no love scenes, so he put the most awkward ones he could to prove a point. Still makes it completely unnecessary, and that actually makes it worse because it means he could have made it without it. Icthulu, Norland is overwrought. I guess that meant to say Nolan. Nolan is overwrought. I'd rather they made the Odyssey in the spirit of Jason and the Argonauts. Nice. All right. I think we're almost caught up with the chat, and then we'll jump into our topics. Hardwick saying, people say that Superman 2025 trailer brings back hope and cheer, but Superman never smiles even once and spends most of the trailer mourning, looking defeated or near death. Yeah. I don't know what trailer they're watching to say that it gives them hope. I imagine that what they mean is that they are hopeful and that they are joyful that it's going to be better than the Snyderverse because it so far looks like it's going to be better, but that's also not a very high bar to set. It's not very hard to do that. But especially when you have to think back to a lot of the Snyder trailers, one could argue, were not terrible trailers. So I've heard some people say that they were better, but again, I've been able to see through a lot of Snyder's garbage for a while now. So I typically, no matter what trailer he has, it's like, nope, it's still a Snyder film. No, thank you. Let's see. Forever Sci-Fi is a member saying, I think all I learned from the new Superman trailer is how much people are looking for a bright hero they can look up to based on their reactions. Yes, this is true. And also the debate over the dog as well. Because I love dogs, but I don't like CGI dogs. And I think that's a big factor here that people maybe aren't talking about as much. I love dogs, but a CGI dog, not as big of a fan of. because CGI nonsense when you don't need it, I don't like it. I don't like it. Hardwick, I like Lois and Clark with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher better than Smallville until the last season or so anyway. It got super soap opera-ish after that. I love Smallville. Yeah, I mean, it's a show that went on too long. Just like, Supernatural, almost any show that goes on for a very, very long time, they almost always fall off, right? Even in the realm of comedy, right? We hear a lot of people talk about this with The Simpsons, where it's like The Simpsons haven't been good in X amount of years. The one show, in my opinion, that has been able to mostly, not completely, but mostly not fall into that same trap is South Park, where I think it's just because of the way they make their episodes. It's how they're able to stay fresh and relevant, and it's just, again, a testament to their style and to their talent as well. Let's see. Laura saying best 80s TV theme song has to be the A-Team. Yeah, I've obviously I think that's probably accurate. And then did you just remove that comment? I had it highlighted. How dare you? How dare you? I wasn't able to see that anymore. Sheer Wingster, hi Odin. Hey guys, get into the numbers. Okay, we'll do that. Cornelia Schultz says, gotta head out. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Many blessings to y'all families. Hey, Cornelia Schultz, thank you so much, man, for stopping by and for sending out that super chat earlier. And again, I will mention before we jump into our first bit of news on the box office, please make sure to enter into that giveaway if you wish. And again, ask the mods and the regulars for more information about how to do just that. Let's just go ahead then and dive straight into it, though, because there's been a few updates over the weekend, or since the weekend, about the numbers for Mufasa and Sonic. And so, without further ado,
time to see a real mathematician at work.
it is now time, of course, to jump into the numbers. So I do have to get a couple of things set up over here. I was like, wait a minute, where's my window to do that? There it is. All right, so here are our updated numbers for this past weekend, according to thenumbers.com. This is the most recent update that we had. So going into or out of the weekend, on Sunday, we had Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with a estimated $62 million domestic opening, and that has now been readjusted to only a $60 million opening. Now, this is a pretty big deal because that 62 number was already on the low end. With how well the film did in its opening day, right, opening Thursday into the Friday, there was a lot of expectations for this film to get $70-80 million. So the fact that the film only got to 60 now is, I think, at the current moment in time, reason for concern. Now, I know what you're going to say. Hey, well, it's the weekend before Christmas. People are going to be doing their shopping. People are going to be, occupied with getting things ready at their homes for families coming in town, and they don't have time to go to the movies. And I get that, okay? I think that there might be something to that. As of right now, though, we just don't know that yet. We won't know until the actual Christmas frame begins and what those daily numbers from that point forward show us. What I think likely will happen, and again, before you jump down my throats on this, I do think there's a good chance for Sonic to really be able to dominate those daily numbers from that point going forward, right? So from the numbers that get updated tomorrow for today, like the Monday numbers, and then even for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and on, I think Sonic is going to be at the head of the pack, and I think it's going to do so pretty easily, and I think it'll probably be that way for quite some time. We also have to keep in mind that there are other films actually set to release over on Christmas Day, in fact, right, over the next couple of days, just to get this release calendar up. For a reminder, we have A24's Baby Girl. I don't think that's going to bring a lot of people out there because of the subject matter, and A24 typically not a massive money getter at the box office. A Complete Unknown from Searchlight. This is one that might bring some of those older audiences, more indie type audiences out. Timothée Chalamet is in this one, so hey, maybe some of the younger audiences will show up. I doubt it, but it's potentially there. An MGM film, Fire Inside, which I've heard looks like it's a not as good as Much Better Boxing Fair movies, and then also has certain agenda items in there. And it's also an MGM movie, and we all know MGM films just do not sell well at all. So I don't expect anything there. But really, the one that will probably have some competition for that adult audience, like the older audience demographic, is the film Nosferatu, which is the new film from Robert Eggers. And everything we've seen from the trailers and everything that we've been hearing from people that have seen early copies or early, releases and screeners and whatever it is that they've had, early screenings, have really liked it. It's been almost overwhelmingly positive towards the film. So this is one where I don't think it's going to be a huge moneymaker, but it could still be a contender for some of those daily box office numbers, at least to maybe get even into top 3, top 4 territory. We'll have to wait and see, right? Jury's still out on that one, but it is going to be a new release. And so that is an edge that it'll have on the 24th, 25th, and beyond, right? It might drop off a bit more because it is going to be only appealing to a certain demographic, but we'll have to wait and see. So Sonic is basically right now, because of very little competition, really primed to have that number 1 spot for really the entirety of the Christmas season, from both Christmas Day on through the 12 days of Christmas on even into beyond that, into early January. As we all know, January is the month where films go to die. It's where typically the worst films of the year get released. This is just the notorious thing that most studios do. Hey, all the films that they didn't think were going to be worthy of awards or that they didn't really care to release in 2024, they usually set for 2025, that first month, to say, let's just get them out there and just get them off our books and just, try and make whatever money that we can, do what we can. So yeah, basically I add that on to say Sonic, very good position to make a lot of money. On the other hand, Mufasa made about as much as had been anticipated. We did not see any massive changes between what was being estimated on Sunday and what we have now being reported on Monday, which is, the movie only made $35.4 million domestically in its opening. We did see a bit of an increase when we add in all of the internationals. It actually went up from about 122 to now 125, so a $3 million increase. Even with that being the case, though, that $90 million international is incredibly weak. We do have some countries that are now actually reporting individual numbers. We'll have more numbers coming out of the various countries. What I'm most interested in is to see exactly what this film does in China, because as we all know, if a huge portion of your international comes from China, that's really bad news for a big budgeted movie because you only get 25% of the returns there. But no matter how you slice it, $125 million as a global opening to a massive film like Mufasa is, $200 million budgeted film, a Disney quote-unquote live-action animated. It's obviously fully animated, but the characters are meant to look like actual animals, photorealistic animals, which is still, to me, one of the dumbest things that you could ever waste money on, especially for something that just did not ever need to be remade. But Mufasa, right now, let's just say it is set to flop big time. So a $200 million budget means the film needs to make somewhere around $550, $600+ million to break even, depending on how much their marketing costs were. That film is very likely not even to get to that. We might actually end up seeing this film performing similar to, in a best case scenario, a movie like the live action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. And I think, honestly, it could even perform worse than that. Like, let's go ahead and put this up against The Little Mermaid from 2023 just to get an idea of where this film currently stands. And as you can see, The Little Mermaid did much better. $95 million for that live action film versus the $35 million domestic that was made by Mufasa. That film also, Little Mermaid, went on to make around $271 million internationally. And only ended up at 569. So ended up still losing money because of a $250 million reported budget and a huge portion of their money coming from those overseas markets. Yeah, that means that $500 million likely not on the table for a movie like Mufasa. That's really, really bad. That means we're talking about financial losses here. It means we're probably looking at a north of $100 million loss if the trending continues. There is a major X factor that we just do not know and will not know for several days, and that is, will the Christmas audience that shows up on Christmas Day and those days following, will they show up to Mufasa in such a way that it's actually able to mitigate the early losses? We've seen this happen before with Disney films, so never ever put a Disney or even an animated film out to pasture right away. We've seen this happen before where a film came out and did not have the best opening, but down the line, down the stretch, did much better. A film like Elemental, for instance, did not have a good opening, was expected to be a massive flop, and yet it domestically and because of staggered releasing internationally ended up, ended up legging out quite a bit to the point where it did actually okay. It was not a huge hit by any means. It was still a massive disappointment for the company, but it definitely did better than expectations. It definitely did better than what the early weekend numbers are actually indicating here. Now, one thing that we can also do is try to find some comparables. So at $125 million for your global opening, what does this look like compared to some others? Well, first off, Gladiator 2, when you take some adjusted numbers, again, take this with a grain of salt because it had a staggered release, but Gladiator 2 had $220 million opening. Moana 2, same thing. Grain of salt because of its staggered release from domestic international, $389 million. Okay, now let's get to some that it's a little bit harder to hold up against. So Wicked only got $162 million in its its global opening. Most of that coming from the domestics. Remember, Wicked has not been doing much international attention whatsoever. Venom 3 got $175 million. Joker, a massive flop, got $121 million, much of that from the internationals, which almost came to save it. But ultimately was not enough. Beetlejuice, $145 million in its global opening. Twisters from the summer, $124 million opening. Despicable Me 4, a huge win from this year, $229 million. So you're starting to see a bit of a trend here, right? Well beneath the global opening of Inside Out 2, which had a massive near $300 million global opening. And then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which ended up flopping because of its budget, $131 million for that movie's global opening. So 125 is really, really bad, right? I've just shown you several comparable films with similar budgets, and it does not give a lot of hope for the futures of this film, for the future prospects of this film. There's a reason why there's this rule of thumb, right? This standard that most films, on average, tend to make a third of their entire box office globally in their opening weekend. And that would mean for Mufasa, we're talking about it, crapping out somewhere around actually close to $400-ish million. I don't think it's going to only get that. I do think it'll probably do better than that, simply because it does have this holiday frame to work with, and that audience can sometimes be a little bit unpredictable, right? Films that didn't seem like they were all that good. We think about Puss in Boots, for instance, had a bad opening weekend, but legged out really well over the holidays. Ended up being a huge hit, in fact, amongst that holiday audience. Same thing happened actually last year with the film Wonka. Didn't have a good opening, but somehow stuck on with the weeks and months that followed with those daily numbers. So we could see something happen with Mufasa. As of right now, though, based on what we have and based off of what the initial expectations were, it is not looking good. If I had to make a prediction, I would say Mufasa probably will end up being a loss, $500 to $100 million in losses minimum. We'll have to wait and see, though. All right, so jury's still out on that one, but it's just not looking good. Not looking good. Same can be said for Sonic. As I mentioned, Sonic is doing well, just not as well as it has been initially anticipated, right? A $60 million domestic opening. Only about $1.3 million of the international is being reported, but remember, it is not open currently in most of the major markets. And if you look at the numbers.com, the difference between the international markets of Sonic versus that of Mufasa, a lot more markets going to be available for Sonic than are for Mufasa. Those can change. Those can get updated. But right now, if I had to choose between which one I would want to be on, the team I'd want to be on, what I thought would actually make money, it absolutely is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I think it's going to make money. It's going to make its money back. It's going to make some profit. The question is just how much profit is it able to do better than Sonic 1 and Sonic 2? Right now, it doesn't seem like that's the case because this film's opening was worse than both Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. If you actually take the opening domestic weekends and compare them relative to things like inflation and ticket sales. But, and again, big but, based on where it's coming out, when it's coming out, that's a factor, right? With the weekend crowd possibly being impacted by shopping and things of that sort, and the fact that we just have not had the holiday frame play out yet. So I would say a lot of hope is there for Sonic. It's just raw data-wise, at this specific point in time, it's not an amazing look for Sonic. That's just an objective, factual statement. Prospects-wise and potential-wise, to the moon. Huge potential for it, still, because of all the factors that I've just laid out there. But again, objectively speaking, there's not a whole lot to be excited about with a $61 million opening. In comparison to Mufasa, it is night and day. Again, I'd much rather be in the Sonic team than the Mufasa team, but the numbers are what they are. And obviously, we'll continue to update y'all here on OMB Reviews as we continue to go through these numbers, and as the numbers continue to update over the course of the next several weeks, I think it'll be a very interesting battle. And I think it's also going to be a pretty one-sided battle at that. But what say you? Let's head back into our live screen, and then we can also see Alex Rodriguez. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you for joining. And let me make sure I didn't miss anyone from earlier. I do not believe I did. So let us see. All right, let's see. Kimberly G at 8:22 said, "My phone is about to die. Good night and Merry Christmas, everyone." Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you for stopping by. You are awesome. Heartbreak Ridge, do I have to be present to win? Yes, to claim your prize. That's a part of it. Is I choose the winners, and I say claim your prize. And if you claim the prize, boom, it's there. If you don't claim your prize, we open it to somebody else. Okay. So again, if you want to enter for a chance to win, I'll mention the giveaway options for tonight. I've got 2 of each copy. So I've got the film Strange Darling, probably my favorite film of 2024. Highly recommended from the Film Threat guys. Similar story also with the film Dee Dee. Again, also phenomenal movie set in the early 2000s. A lot of nostalgia there. And A Man for All Seasons, one of the greatest films of all time. Also got 2 copies, Blu-ray copies available of that as well. And since this might be important for international reasons, the Blu-ray copies of Man for All Seasons have both A, B, and C compatibility, at least according to the Blu-ray discs. DD does not specify what regions. And then Strange Darling is region A. So I don't know why the Blu-ray for DD does not specify that. Or if it does, it's not in the typical place where it's easy for me to say. But in case that impacts your decision when winners are chosen in a little bit. See, Hardwick saying, so apparently Crypto is indeed CGI. While watching the trailer, I was wondering whether he was real or CGI. No, he was very clearly CGI. You could argue, it was a CGI character, but maybe there was a real dog somewhere in the mix, almost like a deep fakes type stuff. It was very clearly CG though, dude. Jacobite Wiseman, Jim Carrey sucks as Dr. Eggman. I mean, yeah, I only played like the old school Sega Genesis games, and so it very well could be that these characterizations fit in with whatever the newer games are and the story arcs that they go on. Just for me, it just honestly seems like they just made up a random iteration of these characters. And that's why I don't like it. It's kind of why I don't like the Super Mario Brothers movie, because especially with the characterization of Bowser, it's like, no. If I wanted Jack Black as a character, I would go to see a Jack Black movie, not to see a Mario film where Bowser should instead be this giant fire breathing, turtle. It's like, I don't like when they do that kind of stuff. Sheer Wingster, imagine if that guy found out his performance is a meme here. That would be pretty amazing if you think about it. If that guy ever found this channel or even was a fan of it, that'd be pretty cool. Just Joe 47, what's going on? Mr. Roy, hello from work. Oh no, Mr. Roy. I'm so sorry that you have to work right now, dude. Carl Jacobs, best TV theme song is Hawaii 5-0. If Hulu just wait for Sonic 3 to release to the sub-Saharan African markets, then we'll see the numbers skyrocket to 1 billion. You never know. Harvey, I'm cautious about Nosferatu. Werner Herzog's remake from the 1970s is highly regarded as well, but I couldn't stand that version. Yeah, you just never know. You just never know, man. Kili Chow, of course, heading out early, as he has been doing. And again, you have to be a regular on the channel to enter in for the giveaway. So no new members here. Because B, that's the first time I have ever seen your name in the chat, dude. Yeah, to be a regular here, you have to have 5 hours minimum watched of the show. And that's, again, all-time watch hours there. And it's our way of making sure that new persons don't see giveaway and then just jump right in to try to take it away from people who've been here for a long time. Sheer Wingster, the sub-Saharan slaves will definitely spread the word of Sonic. Dear Lord. Victor Fontaine, I saw Deadline promoting the huge year Disney had this year. Disney tops $5 billion global box office in 2024. First studio to mark post-pandemic. Yeah, I always love when they do that. And it's like, yeah, but let's actually talk about net profits. Let's talk about how much they spent to even get to that point. Because they did have a good year this year. There's no doubt about that, okay? I mean, Inside Out was, objectively speaking, a massive hit for them. Like, net profit-wise, was huge. Deadpool Wolverine, huge net profits for them as well. But you'd want to end your year strong, and if Mufasa is going to be a $100+ million loss for them, doesn't have a good look going into 2025, and it also means, guess what? Disney still has a lot of problems. The problems have not been fixed. Because a lot of us, the surprise, honestly, for most of us, was Inside Out 2. I don't think a lot of us expected it to be that big. I knew that it would be more successful than people thought, but I didn't think it would be that big. Because the first one was good, and there clearly was a market for that. Moana. I remember with Moana, I said, hey, that's going to be the sleeper hit of the year. It's not going to be the biggest hit as I thought it had the potential to be, but it's still pacing really, really well, despite what other people have said, right? So it is, again, it's very, very important for us to always keep those things in context. Sheer Wingster, I remember when Mufasa said it's scarring time and smacked his brother raw. Forever Sci-Fi, I forgot to ask if you received the movies I sent you. Yes, Forever Sci-Fi, I have received them, and thank you very much, good sir. I do appreciate that. Jimmy A, now we need to get the math guy to come on the streams as a guest. Since he is obviously a theater guy, right? He was off Broadway in that production that I showed the clip from. I imagine his likely not the kind of person that would want to be on a show like mine, but you never know. Forever Sci-Fi, I think they told Jim Carrey he could go full Jim Carrey on the last Sonic movie. It's too much, which is a shame because he's proven he can do dramas like The Majestic. Yeah, agreed. I just, again, I don't like a lot of the characterizations that they had. I was not a big fan of this new film. I understand why you are. I think, as I mentioned, if you are a hardcore fan of the show or if you are a child, I totally get why you would love this movie. I don't think the large proportion of people outside of that group would feel the same way. Now, notice my language there. The large proportion of people outside of that group, not everybody outside of that group. Some people are like, I actually know someone. I actually met someone on the street, and they'd never seen Sonic before, and they really liked it. It's like, okay, that does not prove your point. Oh, man. See, Arbeck, since you've seen some of the original Star Trek now, what are your thoughts on the Orion slave trade? I don't think I've seen enough of it to really have a comment about that. Justin C. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Has Gary acquired Nosferatu for FNT? Interesting launch date to say the least. Yes, that is on the watch list, but I'm not going to be on this week because my family's going to be in town. So since I'm hosting this week, I am not going to be available for this Friday Night Tights. I already let the boys know about that. See, Sheer Wingster. What do you mean, you people? You know exactly what I mean, Sheer Wingster. Carl Jacobs. Why are you and Valiant so out of sync regarding Moana 2? I'm not used to the dissonance. We've had some dissonance before a long time ago. Because we've always had slightly different ways of breaking down these different numbers. The issue that I have, though, right? I don't see how anyone in their right mind can say that Moana 2 is anything but a huge success. Because, again, the numbers are clear and they don't lie. A $359 million domestic run and a $419 million international total. And then an extra $14 million from China, which is always kind of that extra bit. This movie is almost at $800 million. This film will cross $800 million probably by tomorrow. By the end of this week, we're talking 850 plus. And we're still in the early stages of this film's release, in the early stages of this holiday frame. And so, yeah, Sonic 3 is going to gobble up a lot of this stuff. But even though Sonic has done much better than Mufasa, twice as much, right? Almost twice as much as Mufasa's domestic opening, Mufasa still did make $35 million domestic, still did make $90 million international. So those are still there, okay? These movies are not going anywhere. I do think that we're going to see all of those films, Sonic, Mufasa, Moana 2, Wicked, all take in, different pieces of the pie. The big question is going to be, how big are those slices and how long are they going to be able to consume those pie slices? There are better examples out there, but I do not have one. And I'll try and check again because I have been trying to check as often as I could about Okay, is there something to the cost related to Moana that I am just not seeing? Because as of right now, the reported budget on the film, which again has not been verified, and the sourcing on it, I will agree, is not the best, from the LA Times, from Collider, and then also from Screen Rant. As I mentioned, not the best resources, but the only thing being reported is $150 million for the budget. Seeing that the movie was initially going to be a TV show, that does make some sense to me, that it would cost a little bit less, to be honest. Not to mention the film is just not that good either, okay? This is coming from someone who's been very critical of Moana 2, all right? It's a decent movie on my list. Doesn't go anywhere close to the original film. So I look at the cost, $150 million. Okay, marketing, even if you make the marketing more than your typical spend, it still would have a profitable release. It just, again, doesn't. So I would have to ask, is I actually have not been watching. I've been purposely not watching his videos related to Moana because I don't want there to be any crossover in that. I don't want to steal stuff from him or anything like that. So please, and also because more recently there was the whole thing with the $300 million, reportedly $300 million being spent by Wicked, which ended up not actually being the case. Right? Disney, Wicked did not spend $300 million on ads. All right? A $300 million partnership, that is a value given to a partnership, not about money spent. And a partnership entails that it's a little bit of cost from both and ultimately profits coming in no matter what, almost, right? And in fact, they're in the position as the holder of the content. If for instance, if the people behind Wicked and the people of Target came together and Target said, hey, we want to sell specialty items of your merchandise. Guess who's getting the majority of those funds? It's going to be the people behind Wicked. So even though the value of that partnership is going to be upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it might be, that doesn't mean that they are spending $300 extra million, okay? Right now, the only thing we know is that they spent more than your typical on marketing, but even with that accounted in, Wicked is still very close to break-even profitability territory. I don't think we have the same story in regards to Moana. So, again, how anyone can say that film is not a big success, I cannot fathom why and how you can get to that point. Because it's still tracking really well. A chance of $1 billion is still definitely on the table. But hopefully that answers the question. Let's see. Jimmy A says, is it just me or does the release of Nosferatu seem purposefully sacrilegious, like putting out a movie about a vampire demon on a day it's meant to celebrate Christ? I mean, it could be. It could be. I mean, I don't know their motivations, though, so I won't say that. It could also just be, hey, they want it for Oscar consideration. It's one of the last major dates that you can make some money at the box office, but also have it be for consideration for the Oscars and for the award shows. So there's a lot of reasons why you could. Now, if someone asks the person about it, and if the distributor or whoever decided that release date says that's a part of their reasoning, okay, then you definitely could make that connection. Alex Rodriguez says, how big of a drop do you see Mufasa for next weekend, or does it stay flat because of the holiday? Yeah, I mean, it's going to stay flat, and if not flat, it's just going to be it's going to be wonky. We see this happen, right, whenever there is a holiday, especially as big as Christmas in the middle of the week. It's going to be very, very hard to gauge that. So, yeah, don't take a whole lot from next week's drops unless we see something kind of like if Mufasa next weekend is dropping like 70-80%, that's going to be weird. That is going to be very, very weird. Shorty Short says, the release date for Nos did seem a bit odd. It is. No matter how you slice it, it's a weird release. Hardwick, to be fair, the original Nosferatu is an unofficial adaptation of Dracula. Dracula is about the power of Christ overcoming evil. I'm not sure the movie will be, though. Yeah, it's an interesting point. Man with the Orange Hat, I am here. Sorry, I was doing a stream on a friend's channel. Mr. Orange Hat, thank you for being here. Harvey Rage said, on the other hand, I'm not sure Nosferatu will have a lot of competition for its audience. Yeah, that's a good point. For sci-fi, I think I like the live-action Cinderella even more because they stayed away from making the CGI animals talk like in the original animated movie. Yeah, I really do appreciate it's the best in my opinion, it's the best live action adaptation that they have ever done. Let's see, Alex tried to say, how much more box office would have to be would have been added to Moana 2 if Lin-Manuel Miranda had come back to do the songs. It depends, because the writing of the songs has not helped Mufasa at all. So it depends on what kind of Lin-Manuel Miranda you're getting. Because this is something that others have talked about. I think it's the Film Threat guys also who mentioned it, saying, yeah, when he's rushed, he's not that good. There's others who would say he's not that good outside of that time. But I think a lot of us could agree, yeah, if anyone who is an artist is rushed to do something, guess the chances are you getting something good or as good as previous stuff is probably not as high. So do I think that helps the box office for Moana 2? I don't, actually. Forever Sci-Fi, who has to foot the bill for the lawsuit on the Wicked toys? That's a good question. It depends on really who makes the mistake and who is actually being sued. Is it going to be Universal, who is the company behind it? Is it going to be the distributor of the toys that sued because it was their mistake? I mean, that lawsuit can go a lot of ways. Orange Chat, Nosferatu was supposed to be an earlier release, if I remember correctly. Could possibly be the case. Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthy, Nosferatu tagline is, what's in the box? Is it really? Jacobite Wiseman, what are your thoughts on Pirates of the Caribbean? I like the original series. I think that 1 and 2 are a ton of fun. 3, not as much. And then it just goes off on a random tangent. I will say, I think it might be the 4th, maybe 5th one, where they have the weird, missionary and and mermaid subplot. I like that one. The actors they have in it are great. They have chemistry, and it's a fun one. Other than that, though, I just don't care. Sheer Wingster, we all know Mufasa needed a gay black man in it for the Oscars. That's the thing, though. According to Film Threat, Disney is not submitting Mufasa for any of the awards considerations, or at the very least, they have not submitted it for the current slate of shows. I don't know if the Academy is finished accepting those. That's a good question, also to segue to some of our last points before we pick our winners. But yeah, dude, it is just it's kind of crazy. It is it's kind of it's kind of crazy that is that is happening. It tells us also a lot about what they think about their own movie. Caveat ties, the songs of Mufasa sucked. Yeah, they're just not memorable. They're just very bland. Just very, very bland. All right, so last chance for y'all to add in your nominations for. Sorry, last chance for you to put in your name for consideration for the giveaways. So again, I got 2 copies of A Man for All Seasons, one of the greatest films ever made on Blu-ray. 2 copies of Strange Darling, one of the greatest films of this past year, and then 2 copies of Dee, also one of the great films of this year as well. All great films, only one, of course, being an all-time great in A Man for All Seasons, but those other 2 are also pretty solid. So again, if you want to add in add in your name for that giveaway, if you put enter ! space and then the number 1, costs 5,000 digital cookies, which you get just from watching the show. But we'll be closing that up pretty soon. So please do stick around. The one last thing that we're going to talk about tonight are the Raven Awards. The Raven Awards are going to be coming up very, very soon, much sooner than we even realize, and even I might actually realize. So what I need is a little bit more help from you guys. And so we will have an official nomination form coming out within the next, I hope within the next week. With family coming in, it's probably going to be a little bit more delayed than usual. But again, thank y'all in advance for bearing with me with any delays in that. But one way that you can help is there's currently a form that you can fill out. I'm going to go ahead and just post it in the chat. So it should have been posting to the various different platforms. I don't think it posted. I don't know why this chat thing for some reason doesn't work on all of the platforms. So let me see if I can maybe fix that real quick. There it is. All right, so I have it now posted over on Rumble, over on the Green Machine, which unfortunately has been very quiet tonight. And then let me make sure. Okay, it is already over on Odyssey. And it should have also posted directly to YouTube. But anyway, what this form does is this is for you to start to make some nominations, and I'm collecting the nominations that y'all put in from this list to create a short list. And so the way the nominations form will work this year is I'm going to have a list of films that have gotten enough support to be listed. And what it'll be is it'll be actually a little bit easier. And instead of having to remember what films or what moments or what lines and then to type all of those out, instead, on the form, I will have a series of movies, so much more than your typical category, like, more than 5 to 10, where it's, hey, here are all the films that got at least a couple of mentions in some way. And then when your nomination process is going to be like, is you're going to say, all right, I can only choose one for each category. So, hey, I'm going to nominate this one specific thing for this category. And then there's also going to be the option to add one that has not been listed, just in case someone's missed it, just in case there was an issue. That way people can put in, type in their own nomination and be able to still get that film out there. And if enough people, write in a candidate or write in a movie, that film will then also be a contender to get an official nomination if it gets enough of them. So essentially what this has done is it's made the process easier to where we will have an official list. Like, think of it as you're going to get a short list. Your nomination form that you'll get in the next couple of weeks will be an official list of films in each category, and then you get to choose which ones you think deserve to actually get a formal nomination for the Raven Awards this year. So please make sure to click on that link that I sent. It does not collect your email or anything like that. So again, any nominations that you put forward are going to be very helpful. And I'll probably be closing that form within the next day or so. So get those nominations in now. And I will, again, close that down, look at the list, create a short list of nominees, and then let y'all have a final decision over what films, what moments, what lines should be officially nominated. So again, check that out. It'll tell you also all of the different categories that are available to nominate in. The form currently that I've sent out gives you the ability to nominate 3 different categories. So please make sure to check that out and to take care of that. All right, let's get into some chats here, and then we'll pick our winners. All right, Owen chat saying, I will abstain. Okay, no problem. Sheer Wingster, I would like to see a movie about Diddy. I hear he threw some wild parties. Oh, dude, no. Sheer Wingster, how dare you? Not nice. Jacobite Wiseman, I'd rather watch Righteous instead of Wicked. Okay, Gary Barron just saying, may the form be with you. Yes, indeed. Hardwick saying, the YouTuber Wings of Pegasus, who analyzes music, proved that Spielberg's West Side Story remake auto-tuned or pitch-corrected all of the singing. Good for them. Why should I care about that? If this is still about the whole Rachel Zegler thing, we literally have seen her sing on YouTube, on TikTok, raw, like just her and a piano, just her and someone else playing the piano. She can sing. Gosh, drives me nuts. Caveat ties, is there a documentary category? There is not. For sci-fi, I want to nominate Jeremy for shilling for a certain Home Alone 2 actor, but Grace Randolph has actually sold out this year. Dang. Maybe it'll finally be her year. She's always been nominated. I don't think she's won at all ever since. Alex Rodriguez says, love the categories. I appreciate that. We spent a lot of time, a lot of years, perfecting those. All right, it is now that time. Let's go ahead and pick our winners so that we can get out of here, because I need to get some tea. And we'll go ahead and just close the giveaway. It is now closed. You can no longer enter in for a chance to win. So we'll go ahead now and pick our winners. And please, if you are one of the winners, I need you in the chat to enter into the chat and say, I'm here. And to claim your prize, you must claim your prize. And once the prize has been claimed, then we'll go ahead and choose our next winner. And what we will do is we will have, let's do 4 winners. Also, if you are a winner, you'll have to reach out to me via email, and I'll give you a new email address to reach out to, hopefully easier to remember, because the other one's a bit of a mouthful. It is OMB Reviews at proton.me. So OMB Reviews at proton.me is the way you can contact me if you are a member on the Discord server, or if you've contacted me through other means before, you can still contact me through that. But if anyone new wins tonight, again, OMB Reviews at proton.me is going to be a way you can also reach out to me tonight. So let's do 4 winners. Our first winner of the night, and obviously I'll be able to choose the film if it is still available. So our first winner tonight is Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, Mr. International himself. Claim your prize, good sir. Claim your prize. And again, I give you that warning in advance that these are Blu-ray copies, and they are such where they only have the Blu-ray copy. They do not have a DVD copy. And again, I can only guarantee the code, the region code of Strange Darling is A. There he is. Gary Banjo Sandwich is indeed here. He claims Strange Darling. Hey, I hope you can play it, good sir. I hope you can play it. Oh, man. Congratulations, Gary Banjo, for getting Strange Darling. So just contact me just to verify that you are still at the same address. We want to make sure that we are able to get that out to you and not have any issues. I don't mind shipping internationally, but I always hate it because there are these random things with tariffs and all that nonsense that can happen. So anyway, Mr. Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, man, congratulations. Thanks for always being here and being a big supporter of the channel. All right, our next winner is JKBuck76. JKBuck76. Claim your prize, good sir. JKD Buck 76. Claim your prize. Went away for a long time, but he did build up many hours of time. So JKD Buck, are you still here? If so, claim your prize. And then let me know. We still have 1 copy of Strange Darling, 2 copies of DD, and 2 copies of A Man for All Seasons, all on Blu-ray. Oh, man. I'm not seeing a message from JKD Buck to claim his prize. You all know what happens. I thought he may have left earlier. Because if he did leave, that means that we will have to give his victory to somebody else. That is just the way that the world works. JKD Buck going once. JKD Buck going twice. Once I have moved on, there is no going back. Okay. New winner. New winner is Forever Sci-Fi. Forever Sci-Fi, claim your prize. Forever Sci-Fi, claim your prize. That's why you have to stick around for these giveaways. It's the only fair way to handle it. So, unfortunately, JKD Buck, you've lost your victory. But Forever Sci-Fi, you have now picked up your victory. So, claim your prize. Claim your prize. And let me know which film you like. Boom, Forever Sci-Fi. That is a response right there and wants A Man for All Seasons. Great choice. Great choice. Yeah, Gary is up at 2 a.m. to win this victory. Kudos to you, Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington. Awesome. All right, 2 more winners. Congratulations, Forever Sci-Fi. Again, reach out to me, OMB Reviews at proton.me, or if you have another way of reaching out to me that you've used before, you can use that just to verify your mailing address. All right, our next winner is, oh man, it's happened, guys. It's happened. She, her, Wingster. Claim your prize. Claim your prize. Good. I don't even know what to say. He just has a comment too of that title sounds very. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you tried to do there. It's actually a phenomenal movie, Sheer Wingster. But claim your prize. Yeah, we still have 1 copy of Strange Darling, 2 of DD, and 1 of A Man for All Seasons. She, her, Wingster. So I know that She, her, Wingster is here. And then we'll pick 1 more winner after that. J.R. Wingster says, I just wanted bragging rights. I'll take Strange Darling. Perfect. Strange Darling has been claimed, so no more copies of Strange Darling left. All right, and that means that we will pick our last winner tonight, and that is Mr. Heartbreak Ridge. Heartbreak Ridge, claim your prize. I know he was asking earlier about whether he had to stay the whole time. So let us see. Heartbreak Ridge, claim your prize. Claim your prize. Darthmouth has gifted subs, or says gifted subs are live on Rumble. Daremouth says gifted subs are live on Rumble. Very cool. I don't think I have any members over on Rumble. Still a very weird platform. And then I've been gifted a membership, so thank you. Mr. Heartbreak Ridge is still here, and he has claimed a man for all seasons. It is yours. Boom. Glad that you were able to stay, good sir. So again, reach out to me just to verify you have the same shipping address if I have shipped to you before. And yeah, I'm on mobile deal, so worth it. Boom, awesome Heartbreak Ridge. So glad that it was able to work out. But for those that did not win, hey, thank y'all for being here and for trying nonetheless. And I do need to head out because my voice is tired and I need some tea. And I think I need to see also if I need to do any more painting outside. So let us see. It's G. Wingster saying, I got ice cream tonight. Good for you. I don't. Forever Sci-Fi, cool. Take for after all seasons. Glad that you were able to get that. Share Wingster, congratulations on your victory as well. What a heartbreaking ridge, says Caveat Ties. Forever Sci-Fi, if it's a technicality. Hey, a win is a win is a win. So again, thank you all very much for watching tonight. This has been awesome. This has been a ton of fun. Please, again, if you have not made your nominations yet for the Raven Awards, please feel free to take care of that. That helps me out quite a bit when I create the official nomination form to get that short list of films together. This has been a lot of fun. I always love doing these giveaways too. I will try and get these out as soon as I can. Obviously, we all know we're going into Christmas Eve tomorrow, Christmas Day the day after that. So things are going to be a little bit more delayed, not only here at home, but also in the mailing department as well. But don't worry, they will be sent out. They will get to you all eventually. I can only promise that. Eventually, it's going to happen. And with all that being said, I hope everyone has a blessed rest of your Advent season. Our next stream will is indeed still scheduled for next Monday. So it'll be before the new year, but it is still going to be a good time. So, hey, we'll be in the Christmas season still. So I might be able to pull up some more movies to give away. I still got a ton of films to give away. And if the films tonight were not up to your liking, hopefully those will be. So let's go ahead and say hello. Yes, my Gmail still works, Shihara Wingster, so you can use that as well. Heartbreak Ridge, cheers to you. Jimmy A, cheers to you. Forever Sci-Fi, God bless you and have a good night. Mr. Roy, hey, love you, good sir. Thank you again for stopping by tonight. A huge shout out also to Cornelius Schultz, who left a $50 super chat. Really do appreciate that. And to everyone who is still in the chat, smash that like button, light that fire button, and smash the rumble button as well. I hope you all again have a wonderful rest of your Advent season. I hope that in a couple of days you have a very merry and blessed Christmas. And let's never forget the reason for the season, everybody. And let's make sure that we are able to focus on not just the birth of Christ, but also on where we are in our life, how we can prepare ourselves for that time when our life will end. It's one of those dark meanings that we often forget as a part of this season, is not only that first arrival of Christ, but also that final arrival of Christ. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I love you. Have a wonderful, a beautiful Merry Christmas. Watch some awesome films. Highly recommend It's a Wonderful Life. Greatest films of all time. And yeah, anyway, that's it for me. God bless everybody and a Merry Christmas. now for a huge special shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my people on Patreon, Father Luca Illich and Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. Also to my Subscribestar people, Matt317. Check out his Twitch channel by the same name, Matt317. And also to the K-Man. Check out his website, xtheboundaries.co. And lastly to my YouTube member, Mr. Roy. Shout out to you, good sir. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, check out the top link in the video description below where you get access to that. Also, you get access to a plethora of other things. You get your name listed at the end of every live stream and video, like you saw in those names that came up before this video started. And also access to a giveaways channel that I host over on the Discord server where I give away 4Ks, Steelbooks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have an exclusive podcast that I hold at least once a month, and it's always a good time, and you get extra bonus content with that also. So if any of that sounds interesting, again, check out that top link in the video description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.